forget, I'm gonna have to mention that Ray, a player in this game, Ray Ryan, is forcing me to mention that he has beautiful hair or something. I don't know. He really wanted me to mention that, so I'm just gonna
He's
get that out
trying
of the
to
way.
he's trying to battle Michael Udall, but I don't know if anybody can do that. Does his hair have a Twitter?
I don't know. It
Michael
definitely should.
Udall's
If he wants to get
Michael
that kind
Udall's hair
of,
has a Twitter, but if Ray Ryan wants to have beautiful hair, it needs to have its own Twitter. So that's how I rank hair, is whether or not if it has its own Twitter. So Michael Udall has got him beat.
yeah. So I'm just setting up the draft here, sending out the links. So why don't you talk about the? We're still in a new patch right now, so why don't you talk about that for a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the new patch hit this week. Some of the teams had to play on it, some of the teams didn't. And the new patch not only introduced a new hero, Alrak, a melee assassin, but it also introduced a new map and a new rotation of maps. So this patch was actually pretty cool. It did a lot of reworks on quite a few heroes. Zagara, the Butcher, and I forget, there was one other one that got kind of a rework. It's escaping me right now, but there were some other minor talent changes on things like on Murky, and a lot of the movement changes because the movement speed blanket was changed as far as from 40% mounted to 30% mounted. So what that offers is for a little more strategy to the game when teams are trying to rotate, whether it's to rotate to an objective, to clear a lane, to try and gank. So when the move speed changes, offers a smaller area that players are typically going to be in because the movement speed is slower. So it offers for a little bit more strategy. I've noticed it. It feels like a significant difference, even though it's only 10%. I feel like it's pretty significant, but again, it's only been a week. And the new map, Brex's Holdout, kind of takes the place of Haunted Mines, but just to not really complain about it, but to give a little bit of an overview, it's pretty snowbally, and I really think that it's just as bad as Haunted Mines as far as being able to come back. It's almost like the first 2 to like 4 minutes, if there's a team fight, really dictates the game. But there's still ways. There's ways where I've heard of a certain somebody that has had a 3-level lead and still lost.
Yeah, apparently, if you don't push with your Zerg wave, the other team can just completely tank it and it'll do no damage. So, despite winning 3 waves early, or what are they called? I don't even remember.
Beacons.
Beacons. Yeah, despite winning 3 beacons early, basically 100-0, we ended up losing because my team just would not push with a Zerg wave, and they just tanked all of it and did no structure damage. Anyway, back
Yeah.
to this game though. The draft has started.
Yeah, I see that. Towers of Doom. Interesting. This is one of those maps where teams usually try to avoid because it can get really cheesy really quick. And rotations and positioning are super, probably the utmost importance on this map. And you'll see right away that they banned Falstad, which is pretty interesting because they did have first pick, but maybe they just don't want to deal with it and they don't have somebody comfortable. And Zeratul, wow, I'm wondering if that was a misclick. Were they trying to click Zagara? But Zeratul being taken out.
In
right away.
in rotational maps, Zeratul is very powerful, and of course he always has the option of Void Prism stalling for a altar capture. It is an unusual first ban. I'm not gonna, pretend that it isn't. But maybe they have something up their sleeve. Maybe Zeratul counters Tyrael very well. We all saw the Sanctification counters in one of the competitive tournaments recently. So maybe they're planning to pick Tyrael in the first phase.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely offers a little bit more flexibility when it comes to committing to a play, because obviously Zeratul, as a stealther, you don't see him as easily. You still see a shimmer, but all of a sudden a Void Prison comes out, they get set up, and if they have anybody that has any sort of follow-up, like Mosh, Ring of Frost, or anything like that, even a Sundering, it can get really dirty really quick. But we do see Team R2 pick up one of the best mages in the game first. We have Li Ming. High potential for damage output, but she's extremely reliable on getting a first kill in a fight to get those resets with her with her trait. Her trait is
Mass something.
mass. Wait,
Critical mass.
critical mass. Yeah, I was like mass critical. No, critical mass. Yeah, it gets those resets on all of her talents. So very powerful, but very reliant on achieving the first kill in the fight.
Now, 5-star has picked up Muradin in the first as their first pick, and he is super reliable. Probably the most reliable tank that exists right now. Completely independent of his ult. He has a lot of cooldowns he can use. They did have a minor change to him in the patch where they moved Reverberation to level 4, and so that does weaken him a bit because you can't combo that with Thunderburn anymore. But but he's still super reliable. He's tanky. Yeah. He has so much HP. He has escape. He has stun. He has his attack speed slow if you want that.
Offers the sustain too, so he could just step away from a fight for a few, regen, 500, 600, 1,000 health, and just get right back into the fight and not have to worry about it. So very interesting.
And he can do a lot of damage later too. So.
Oh yeah, with his Ironforge momentum, yeah, he does excessive amounts of damage to the game.
And give him the axe later. So
yeah.
Tyrande is very interesting. On this map, she's better on channeling objective maps because, of course, Owl, if she takes the Pierce, will be an unstoppable cancel. But we haven't seen her like in the meta lately very popularly. Now she can combo with the Muradin stun, of course, if they coordinate that correctly, but Muradin stun is not that long, so we'll have to see
they're both,
if they can
I believe, 1 second apiece.
Yeah, they're both
and I think the cast time on Lunar Flare is like 0.75 seconds, like so it has to be exactly coordinated, but it's already looking like a great gank squad being able to have Muradin Tyrande not only scout for possible rotations with Owl, but be able to Dwarf Toss, Hammer, Lunar Flare, and then follow it up with Hunter's Mark, which is Tyrande's trait, and be able to put out massive damage.
Yeah, the problem with the 2 picks right now, though, is that they don't have any lane clear. So
no, they don't. Yeah.
They're going to get pressured pretty hard. I mean, the 3 heroes we see on R2's team aren't great at lane clear, but they're way better than what 5-star has got right now. So, and I kind of like the Oriole pick in response to a Muradin Tyrande, because as soon as they land that stun combo and then put a Hunter's Mark on their target, you can just Aegis that person and everything's kind of wasted in the setup, and Muradin might have been baited in at that point. And then of course Lunara, again, very decent wave clear and stays very safe in the backline. And
she's extremely well with Ariel.
Yeah, and since her move speed was untouched, she's actually better relative to mounted heroes now. So she can move around almost as fast as mounted heroes now.
Yeah.
And so we see the second phase bans. Zagara, very surprised she made it to the second phase. I know her win rate has dropped off a little, but she's still so powerful in the laning phase and just putting pressure on the lanes that I'm surprised she even made it that far. But and then ETC, lots of chokes around this map, so just avoiding those having to deal with those moshes. And of course, other than Wave of Force so far, they had nothing to deal with the mosh. And then moving on to the second round of picks, we have second phase of picks, I should say. 5-star has picked Kael'thas and Lily. Now Kael'thas is another one of those gank squad heroes, so it's going to be like a kind of a, if they can stagger their stuns enough so that or chain their stuns enough so that it's a stun train instead of stacking them, they're going to do very well in the early game. Now Kael'thas also provides them with lots of lane clear, so that's something they sorely needed. But then Lily once again is not that great at lane clearing either. She can hold her own lane if she just stays there the whole time, but she's not ideal. So
something interesting that I would like to point out really quick. 5-star, that being
your mic's cutting off. Sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was actually Team 5-star that banned out ETC too. So it was interesting because ETC would actually be extremely beneficial on Team 5-star with that Kael'thas pick, being able to get that power slide with the gravity lapse, because that is the longest duration of stun that they can get right now. I believe that's actually a quarter of a second longer than any other combo stun, but they already had Muradin, so I can see the reason why they wouldn't want to face ETC. But even if they did give up ETC, they have Stormhammer, Lunar Flare, Gravity Lapse already, so they had ways to get out of the mosh. So it was an interesting ban,
I think,
but still.
I think the problem with picking ETC for them, though, they probably feared for their damage because they already had double healer.
Yep.
So
100%.
So they end up picking Thrall, which is one of the remaining kind of best laners in the game, solo laners. Now on Team R2, we see Lost Vikings, which is kind of a pretty popular pick on Towers of Doom, at least in the higher levels of play, because getting a level advantage early on this map is so good. You can try to get all 3 altars in the altar phase in phase 1 and phase 5, and just getting a tower being able to get a bell tower puts so much pressure on the opposing team. You can start running them around, controlling where they go essentially, and of course bribe on the pumpkins adds even additional pressure. So I really like the Lost Vikings pick here. Stitches once again, on our team, on the Penguins, our tank really likes playing Stitches on this map because there are so many hidey holes you can hook people from, and you can hook them over the walls into your base and stuff like that. And so that is a very good pick here as well. And then with Li Ming, they have the burst to kind of follow up.
Yeah, especially around because we know that there's going to be fights underneath it, closer to the walls, especially if they start escorting pumpkins with the fact that Vikings take bribe. So what's going to happen is they're going to attempt to escort the pumpkins in, and Stitches can not only hook, but they then gorge if he decides to take that. I do think that the Putrid Bile is going to work out better for him, though, so Li Ming can land her skill shots, and that Lunara can combo off with Unfair Advantage on her, which does increase damage to slowed targets. And Lunara already has a built-in slow as well. So, it would combo really well if they took Putrid Bile, but even still, Gorge to be able to take somebody out of the fight for a few seconds and then just collapse on somebody else if they kill a healer first, absolutely viable.
Yep. I do like to, usually with Stitches, I do like to follow up with a stun, but the Lunar slow will probably suffice. So we are into the game. We're going to start it up now. And once again, this is week 2, the second placement match for both these teams, Team R2 and 5-star.
Looking at the draft, I would have to favor Team R2, simply for the fact that they made that Lost Vikings play. It's going to allow for essentially a 4-1 rotation, but the Lost Vikings are going to be occupying each lane, so it's really not going to be a 4-1, but for a lack of better terms, it will be a 4-1 rotation because Lost Vikings will be maintaining their lane, while Stitches, Lunara, Ariel, and Li Ming have free reign to just walk around the map, gank people that are solo laning like Thrall or possibly even Lily, leaving Muradin, Tehran, and Kael'thas to respond to the rotation, and 4 versus 3 rotation obviously favor the 4. So I favor Team R2 in this draft.
Yeah, me too. It's just their lane clear is so much better as well. I just like their lane control, and on this map, if you can run the other team around, you're kind
essentially
of
in control.
Yeah. So. Okay, so introducing Team R2, we have Tips and Tricks, the captain, on Oriel, Saber on Li Ming, Rantology on Lunara, Stereophonic on Stitches, and Ray Ryan on Vikings.
And the other team is 5-star, correct?
Yes, 5-star.
Tasaku playing Lily, She-Edge on Muradin, Razio playing Tyrande, Kael'thas is being piloted by KIFD, and Thrall is being piloted by, it looks like he's trying to spell Josh with 2 O's and a 5, 2 zeros and a 5, so we're going to call him Josh.
Joosh. It's clearly Joosh. Okay, so we have a 4-on-5 clash kind of going in the mid. Now the early fights, I think, probably go 5-star's way, so R2 probably doesn't want to commit this heavily yet, but they got Vikings soaking the other 2 lanes, so 5-star really needs to respond to this quickly.
And they've already cleared the minions out, but you see that they're still attempting to pressure here, which I don't agree with. They cleared the lane. They need to immediately leave, otherwise they're going to fall behind. As you see, even though they're still doing damage and they cleared their way first, they're already half a level behind. So and we're only 45 seconds in, so they really need to pay attention to the rotations here. Even though they have the 5 men in the middle lane, they need to split those lanes quickly.
So, oh man, some kind of unconventional talents coming out already. We got seasoned marksman on Tyrande.
Yeah, see, the minion wave, something I wanted to point out is the minion wave spawn immediately on this map. And that, I just want to comment really quickly on R2, on R2's positioning there. They were able to not only turn the fight and clear the wave back, but they were also able to push everybody back into their own fort and force them to tap. So very well played on R2's side, forcing the rotations, even though they should have already rotated. Team 5-star should have already rotated. They forced the rotation at that point, which is exactly what Duel was saying, is making them play to a great hook onto KFID. Got the Lunar Flare with the stun from Auriel to follow up, and then great poison damage. So that was going to be first blood for Team R2. A Viking went down earlier, but that will be the first full point kill there.
Yeah, and you could see the Vikings team is already half a level ahead, which is quite expected. And so the other talent I wanted to mention is that Kael'thas picked Convection. Now, he's already died once, so all the stacks have been lost. And so this is quite the gutsy call, I think, to go for that.
As you see teams split up here, looks like Team 5-star is just going to try and capture theirs while leaving Murd and bottom to fend off. But Stitches, Auriel, and Li Ming have actually rotated down. So that's going to be the top ones captured by the Vikings. And Team 5-star is going to capture theirs as well. But this is going to leave Stitches, Auriel, and Li Ming free to capture the mid one. So a positive outcome for Team R2 is a great hook goes down on Lili, but that's not going to be enough. 2-man stun followed up with a flame strike just to baby Kael'thas a little bit, get him some convection stacks, but Tyrande is actually harping for mana here, so they need to be careful. Kael'thas taking a lot of damage from that orb, and great skill shots out of Saber with those magic missiles. He's connected at least 2 or 3 times on all 3 missiles already, so great job.
And this Auriel Lunar combo is doing work. You can see that Auriel is permanently at full energy, and his team is at full life, so it's very hard to try to fight into an Auriel with full energy like this. The other thing I wanted to mention too is that you can see that after that good hook by Stereophonic, they couldn't follow up. So this is what I was saying. I really like having a stun to follow up the Stitches hook.
Yeah, being able to keep them in the place that you want them. And as you did call it, Tyrande did take the Piercing Sentinel, so she's going to be able to stop the channel. Lots of damage going down on She-Edge. He is going to have to Dwarf Toss out of there, but not before he loses almost 75% of his health. Kael'thas just kind of throwing in a Flame Strike in there to try and get his stacks up. As you see the Owl go out to scout any possible rotations down to mid, which there are none, so Murden's free to push the lane back.
So
Pumpkin's already captured too. I did not see that. That's going to be the wall that goes down. A wall in a tower already, so even though they didn't have the lane push, they are using the mercenaries to their advantage.
Yeah, I wonder how that got through when they had like everybody in the bot lane, but I actually kind of missed that because I didn't expect that. Now, one thing about the Piercing Owl is you see Tyrande is throwing them rather early. Now, you have vision around the altar, so there's no need to rush that.
Ray Ryan is going to get out of here. Thrall committed all of his whole kit to killing that Viking. He was a stitch of health away and then just walked away. Stereophonic taking a lot of damage. He did get he is getting a lot of harass put on him, but Kael'thas is going to go down in the process because they ignored their backline and allowed Li Ming to get the orbs in there. Really low health bars on the side of Team 5-star. Lunara just doing a lot of work onto Thrall here. He is going to go down. It looks like the resets are going to come off of Saber. She is trying to get in for some orbs onto Raziel, and that's not going to connect there, but Taksu is going to barely get out of there. Yeah, she's going to be able to tap and get out of there. But the Shrine, the altar did go to Team R2, so they are taking an 8-point lead here.
Just take a look at the health bars at the end of that fight.
Yeah, they were so low on Team 5-star, and they were so healthy on Team.
Yeah, it just shows how amazing this Lunara Oriole combo is. Like, she was just getting full energy all the time, healing up her team, and this is why we often see either Oriole, well, mostly Oriole banned at some point in the draft. Oh, great stun again by Oriole.
Another one, yeah.
But yeah, if you can't keep up with a solo healer as a double healer, there is something imbalanced going on here. And they get the wall right back, and Tyrande, she has no escape, so she's probably gonna die.
Yeah. Comes in with the level 10s were picked up right at that last second there. So again, great call there on that hook, and they are going to be able to take this keep out before they respond. It looks like, yeah, they'll get it. Yep.
Actually, yeah, I just realized that this Stitches pick was kind of ingenious against 5-star, because looking at the 5-star lineup, they've got a bunch of immobile heroes. The only person with an escape is Muradin, so hooking anyone else is almost certain death.
The only other partial escape would be Wind Fury on Thrall, but even then, that's lackluster, and you want to be able to not escape.
Yeah, so as long as Oriole sets up in a proper position, knowing the hook is coming, you can knock them back or knock them into a wall for that stun. It is a guaranteed kill on everyone. And now they're positioning aggressively on the top shrine, and that is exactly what they should. Lost Vikings have given them a 2-level lead, as well as their 4-1 kills. So.
Yeah, and I as much as I want to look at this fight down, mention really quick that they captured Pumpkins on the bottom and left them, forcing Muradin to defend them or give up 3 shots. So they are making them choose between either capturing an altar for 3 shots or giving up 3 shots to the enemy team. That was a great decision, a great shot calling there, not making the decision to escort them and just choosing to go to the top. As they're already going for the boss. Thrall's not even going to... Oh, Thrall does kind of walk by, but there's not going to be... Yeah, there's nothing they can do about it. So already a boss capture, 7 minutes into the game.
They know exactly where they are in this game. I'm very impressed with the way R2 is managing this game. They are playing their lineup perfectly. They know what kind of advantage they have. They're going to try and finish the game as early as possible. They capitalizing on their 3-level advantage, knowing the other team didn't even have heroics to challenge the boss, so they just get it for free. And that phase, they ended up with 14 shots, essentially, and just have complete stranglehold on this game. Just now, the bell tower bottom is being taken back by Muradin.
Yeah, he stayed down there that whole time. He had to. I mean, it would have been nice to have some damage there. They needed to respond to those pumpkins. Something... Oh, is that the Lunar Flare range? That is... Yeah, Lunar Blaze, yeah. Something interesting I'd like to point out is the Magic Missiles build onto Li Ming. She even took Charge Blast with the Force Armor. Interesting call on the Force Armor with the damage over time from Kael'thas being able to completely negate those stacks, but as long as she's not in range of Kael'thas, which she shouldn't be, she should be pretty safe.
So
Putrid Bile as well was picked up as we were expecting with the unfair advantage, so it looks like that combo is going to pay off.
Oh my goodness, look at all that damage going down.
And that is Putrid Bile, Phoenix, and Starfall stacked with Jugs. Putrid Bile finally goes down and connects, but it's going to be a root onto him, onto Stereophonic, but they are going to barely get out of there. Ray Ryan just kind of zoning out with the Viking. It's okay if a Viking dies here. Great stun onto Lili. It is going to be Sundering, not going to get a kill there. Another root, but no follow-up, but that's going to be Li Ming taking out Lili here. Kael'thas low, Raziel low, She-Edge low. They have one healer that doesn't heal very well enough. They need to back off.
The Sundering actually pushed someone out of the Flame Strike, unfortunately, so that actually might have cost them a kill. I mean, it hit a lot of people, so in that way it was good, but just kind of a misplay. It ended up being a misplay.
Yeah. And as we look, Kael'thas is actually at 11 stacks here out of 20, so he's more than halfway there, but the game is a little bit more than halfway over, so he needs to get on top of that as he does collect one more stack with that Flame Strike. But he's very low as Phoenix goes out to try and zone. She-Edge is going to go down to Lunara and Stitches with that damage over time. Also going to see Tehran go down. Putrid Bile is going down to try and surround Jush. Jush also going to go down. KIFT is taking a lot of damage from Li Ming. It's going to be the last one standing. Not going to get out of here, it doesn't look like. Nope, and he's going to lose all of his convection stacks. So that's starting from starting from level 1 all over again as a team wipe comes out with one keep left. This went south really quick.
This team fight from R2 is just insane. I mean, in addition to just staying at full health the whole time because of Lunara and Oriole, they were so hard to kite. Once the Stitches ult came and slowed everyone, how were they even going to chase that? Chasing that was just a losing proposition. The Lunara poison kept coming out, and I mean, and of course they still had the 3-level lead, so
Yeah.
I like the decision there from
Yeah.
5-star to try and fight that because
they just win it, you know.
yeah, I like the decision from 5-star to try to fight that. They knew it was pretty much their last hope to try and win a fight under their bell tower. If they gave it up, they just couldn't. They had no control over this game whatsoever. So I don't blame them for doing that. And similarly, I don't blame Kael'thas for taking Convection because they probably looked at the lineups and decided, okay, well, either this quest works and it pays out like in spades for us, or we probably lose anyway. So.
Yeah, as you did see, that was R2 that collected all the bell towers. Your core actually starts bombarding the enemy core with simple shots of missiles every 3 seconds. So you did see 2 shots go down before an before a bell tower was recollected. They are going to allow them to actually channel this, which is really interesting because they had so much damage there. You are going to see Jugs come down. There's so much going on right here. You see Putrid Bile come out onto Razio. Razio is going to go down because she was so far out of position. Convection is going to get another stack onto Ario, but that's not going to really matter as Kael'thas gets pulled back in with the hook, Li Ming with Seeker, and that was Mirror Ball. That great Aegis right after Sundering was able to protect Li Ming there from any follow-up. She had taken a lot of damage. That was Dwarf Toss. He's not going to get out of there. Juice also going to get taken down, and Tasoku is just having to get out of there as fast as possible. This last channel, though, is going to be a good game for Team R2 in dominating fashion in 13 minutes.
Yeah, and we kind of see how a better team can completely control this map compared to a lesser team. And I mean, it was a good try and well played from 5-star, but and strangely, it was 5-star's map choice, but it didn't seem like they had anything kind of special planned, or they didn't have
Like
a super fluid game plan to execute. Yeah, they didn't have like any weird strategies. They didn't do anything special that I saw.
Part of me wonders because I'm looking at this and I'm seeing how good Falstad would have been with that composition, with them being able to pick up a Falstad and a solid healer instead of the double heals. If they had a solid healer like a Kirazim or an Uther with a Falstad, they would actually be able to not only Sunder and then gust off, the other half that they didn't want to deal with, but they would also be able to gust into a corner, throw off Phoenix and then Starfall as well, and just combo in all the damage, and when they tried to get away, sunder them back into the corner. So that first ban on Falstad could have absolutely just been the nail in the coffin for them when they saw that come up. So Falstad would have worked perfectly for their composition, I feel like. So I think that might have been a targeted ban.
But I mean, you can't really rely on a strategy that relies on Falstad, because he is one of the most popular picked and banned heroes. So even if they didn't ban him in the first phase, they could have picked him. So it would be kind of foolish to base a strategy solely on a Falstad. So I wonder what else they had planned there. I mean, Tyrande, once again, very unconventional. She went Seasoned Marksman, which I still don't really agree with, but not the biggest deal, obviously. And they couldn't, once again, the Vikings pick pressuring all their lanes, they really couldn't rotate like they wanted to, I think, early game with their powerful stun lineup.
Yeah, they did focus a lot on those stuns and root stuns, and just the ability for some really good zoning. But they just weren't able to do that because they not only had to commit somebody to the lanes to be able to counter the Vikings and keep them from taking their bell towers, but they wanted to commit somebody to a rotation. So that automatically cut their rotation down to 3 people, and that just allowed Team R2 to have the upper hand with a 4-man rotation and a Viking. So very well played by R2, having the foresight to see that it would be next to impossible for them to counter the rotations, which on a map like this is extremely important because the objective is your lanes. You want to be able to take those towers and force the rotations and force them to play around you while you capture the objective. So very, very well played, well executed.
Sorry. Ray Ryan is apparently bugging me about his hair again. So
he doesn't have a Twitter. If you can link me, Ray Ryan.
Yeah, Ray Ryan, you need a Twitter for your hair if you want the recognition. Apparently, that's what Arg Mikey is saying. So we see, looking at the numbers, kind of not surprising. Lunara and Li Ming kind of fighting for top spot, and then on 5-star side we have Kael'thas. Of course, with the bug, I can't see Thrall's numbers, unfortunately. But
Thrall's always been bugged. Like,
yeah, what
it's
is up
only
with that
Thrall.
guy? He thinks he's just because he's the war chief, he doesn't need to show his numbers.
He sounds like Donald Trump not releasing his tax returns.
Yeah, seriously. Well, that really dates this cast. So, so well played by both teams. Thank you, viewers, and thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, viewers, for watching. I do have a new YouTube channel where I'm uploading all these matches to and some other things I cast. So please check that out. You can see the info at the bottom of the channel. Subscribe if you like. Give me a follow if you like the cast. And thank you once again to my co-caster, Arg Mikey. Where can they find you?
I just posted it in there, twitch.tv/ARGMikey. All
right, thank you very much. That's it for my cast this week. Join me next week as I try to get more Shirley games to cast. The HOTS weekly Discord tournament won't be happening this week. I think it's under some restructuring or something like that, so I'll keep you guys posted as to when that's going to happen. Thanks a lot.